Hello, a very good morning to all of you. Today we are going to discuss the case note of Mr. James PITTMAN, who is a 70-year-old client who has a stroke, who suffered a stroke. And today's date is 8th of January 2022. So what we have to see in this particular letter is that we have to write a letter of transfer. The transfer of care of Mr. PITTMAN to Ms. Rosalind Fernandez, a community nurse at Rosewood Community Health Center, Tolworthy. So this is what we are going to say in this letter. So we are going to write a letter to Ms. Rosalind Fernandez regarding the transfer of care of Mr. PITTMAN. So as you are going to introduce a new patient to a new place, you have to say the relevant information regarding the patient from the social background, from the past medical history, from the present history, and the requirement. So we need to say something, I think, an outline of the whole of the case note. So let's go ahead in detail what we can include and what we can exclude in this particular letter. So we have to say that today's date, that's on 8th of January, that's mandatory field. And we have to say that the PITTMAN is going to live with his son within 2 weeks. Now we have to say the name of the patient in full, the date of birth or the age we have to say, and the social background, it's the profession. A widower is optional, and ex-smoker is not needed. Alcohol consumption is an optional matter. Exercise is not needed because he is doing exercise. Not following a diet, we need to include it. At one point, I think so, because we have the non-compliance of diet almost in twice or thrice in this particular case not. So we need to mention it in the appropriate position. We need to say that about the diet. It's very important. So regarding the past medical history, we need to say about the hypertension, high cholesterol, and the medicines that we are going to take. We can exclude family history of stroke because we are not going to write to a doctor there. Now, if you are going to the presenting complaints, that's 2021, December 2021, we need to include speech impairment, partial paralysis, and left-handed weakness to get an idea about what happened to the patient. Because you are writing to a new community nurse, she needs to know what type of paralysis he had, which side is affected, what are the problems. So we need to say about the medication, the dosage, and the frequency. The rest is irrelevant there. Now, when we go with the 16th December, it's discharge, dietary advice, it's not that much relevant. 22nd, he had a review with the family doctor. That's very relevant. And he reported that it's good progress. That's okay. That's okay. But we need, as far as we have not made any change with the dosage, we are not going to say that. And about the diet, we can say it later because we are going to say that about the diet because he's compliant with the medicine at present. So no problem. About the diet, we can say it later. We have an opportunity to say about the diet later. Now we have another important matter here, a review with the nurse after 2 weeks. So that also is a relevant information there. Now, if you go with the 8th January, that's today, the review, that's the nurse, the practice nurse. That's the person whom you are writing, the person, the writer, assessed that no further attack, the patient non-compliant with medication. So we have to say on this particular review today, the patient was seen non-compliant with the diet and non-compliant with the medication too. And another thing is that the consent has given to share the medical history with the nurse in Tallworthy. So the recommendation is very important. Medication complaints and diet, INR checking. So all these things are important there. So we have briefed out the letter. We have seen the outline of the letter, and we have selected the relevant data. And let's see how we can present this data. This date is today's date, and the addressee is Rosalind Fernandez. Dear Ms. Fernandez, Mr. James Pittman, this is the date of birth. Now we have to see the most important part of this thing. I'm writing to transfer the care of Mr. James Pittman, who is planning to move to Tallworthy to stay with his son in 2 weeks. So I am writing, the purpose of writing is transfer the care of Mr. Pittman. Why we are transferring the care? Because he's going to stay with his son at Tallworthy in 2 weeks. The matter is complete there. Now, what is the complaint of this patient? He suffered a transient ischemic attack, and the matter is not over. He is still at the risk of recurrence. So this is something which we have to alarm the community health nurse, that he suffered stroke and still he's not out of danger. He is taking medicine for that to prevent the recurrence. So it becomes relevant to say that he's at risk of a recurrence. Mr. Pittman, the social background, is a retired electrician and a widower. His only son lives in Tallworthy. So this is something which we can add, because if you want to exclude this, you can exclude this, because we have already said that his son is there in Tallworthy. So if you want, you can edit that. I can say, yeah. Mr. Pittman, he's a retired electrician. He's a widower. And has a son. If you want to say like that, you can say. I think it becomes awkward if I make an editing there. Mr. Pittman, a retired electrician, is a widower and has a son who lives away. Okay. It means that he is not living with Mr. Pittman. He has a history of hypertension and high cholesterol, and is on atenolol 20 mg and atorvastatin 50 mg respectively. So we have said the past medical history with the social history there. Now the matter is closed. We have given social background information and past medical history information. Now we have to see what happened to Mr. Pittman. On 15 December 2021, Mr. Pittman was admitted to the emergency department with speech impairment and left-sided weakness. So you can see that what happened to him is that the speech impairment and the left-sided weakness. Now, we have confirmed his diagnosis as stroke because we have mentioned the condition in the purpose. We don't need to say that's transient ischemic attack. So we just said after confirming his diagnosis, he was commenced on warfarin 5 mg a day to prevent further recurrence. Following his discharge the next day, I think on 16th of December, on 22nd December, he was reviewed by a family doctor who reported the progress and requested a subsequent review from our service. So following his discharge on next day, it's not that relevant. So I can say on 22nd December, he was reviewed by a family doctor. So we made it brief. We have informed where he has the problem, what dosage of medication he has. He was seen by the family doctor and he reported progress, and he suggested subsequent review from our service. So what happened today's the most relevant, the most recent history during today's review? During review, Mr. PITTMAN was neither compliant with his diet nor compliant with his medication. Now, he is not compliant with diet, not compliant with his medication. So what happened? We have given reassurance was given to him regarding the risk of these. These means the non-compliance of medication and the non-compliance of diet. And later consent was obtained from him. Later, a consent was obtained from him to share his medical history to you. Okay, medical history before. Okay, now such history to you. That's good. It works out. It would be appreciated if you could monitor his medication complaints and dietary regimen in addition to the regular checking of iron level. So we are going to say that what we are requesting is that we are requesting the medication compliance, we are requesting the dietary regimen. You need to monitor the dietary regimen, we need to monitor the medication compliance, and we need to see whether the warfarin level is up to the range. If it is not, we need to inform the doctor and make necessary changes. So this is what we have to inform. If you have any further queries, please do not hesitate to contact me. You are sincerely, Nurse. So what we have said here, nurse, we are not sure whether it's a community health nurse or a practice nurse. So that's what we have said, it's nurse there. Thank you, and that's explanation here. Thank you.